All right, good day, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me on yet another great episode of your favorite political talk show, The Truth with Ben Jokes. Now, with each passing day, the APC continues to prove to Nigerians that they have no good intentions. Just 3 days ago, CBN raised interest rates. Cardoso said it was his way of discouraging borrowing so as to reduce purchasing power of people and consequently demand so that prices can fall. How do you discourage borrowing in this present economy? Small businesses depend on borrowings. They depend on loans. You are killing them. That is why Nairametrics reported 3 months ago that 767 manufacturing companies had shut down in Nigeria because of government policies. Yesterday, the APC-led House of Rep began debating over national anthem. They said they wanted the country to revert to the old national anthem to move the country forward. So a change of national anthem is the APC's, preferred solution to the problems confronting Nigeria right now. Does that even sound normal to the ears? And few hours ago, the APC government came out and said climate change was the cause of insecurity in Nigeria. And like I always say here, the cases of insecurity we began recording in this country after the APC was formed were strange. We never had such cases before that party was formed. We have also seen their lack of political will to properly tackle it. So when they come out and they try to, deviate from the truth, we know the obvious reason why. They are telling us that climate change is the reason Boko Haram kidnapped schoolgirls. So what you are telling me is that climate change is the reason bandits are holding the country hostage everywhere. Before I show you how they said it and how Nigerians reacted, let me quickly show you this biggest talk in town. When Peter Obi criticized the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway project, he said, how can you destroy the landmark beach that is worth over $200 million with other businesses just because you want to build a coastal highway that you cannot even finish in 10 years? APC guys began insulting Obi. UMAHI went on air and said that Obi was trying to turn the Igbos against the TINUBU administration. But now, this administration has come out themselves to say that they cannot continue with that project. Look at how the papers reported it. FG disembarks on Lagos-Calabar Highway realignment due to submarine cables. The federal government of Nigeria has announced its decision to disembark from the proposed Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway realignment. This was disclosed at the third stakeholders meeting in Lagos, where the Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, confirmed that the proposed diversion would no longer occur due to the submarine cables along the coastline. Umahi also announced that the environmental impact assessment would not be available for now, citing Section 15B of the Freedom of Information Act to support the government's decision to withhold certain information from the press and public. Meanwhile, the announcement comes after the telecommunications companies warned the government of the possibility of network outage in the country if the diversion is not reconsidered. The government has since decided not to proceed with the diversion, which would affect connectivity to the internet in the country and lead to the demolition of ancestral homes in the Okunwaja community. Despite previous demolitions that affected the beachfront of private businesses, including Landmark, the government is now considering alternatives to ensure the continuation of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway. You heard that. Immediately they announced that project, Peter Obi warned them to put an end to the idea immediately. But they refused. They went ahead and released part of the money for the project, demolished an over $200 million worth of investment, then got on the news to criticize Obi. Now they are doing exactly what he said. And Umahi is holding the EIA, that is Environmental Impact Assessment Project. He said he's not going to release it to the press or the public. And this is what this Arise TV reporter was asking him about, and he decided to make a joke out of it. The lady said, have you done an assessment properly before you start demolishing things? Do you think you can carry out that project? That report must have stated that the project was not possible, but they had sinister motives to steal money and to take out that landmark beach. And look at how Nigerians reacted. Look at some of the tweet reactions. This tweet says, after destroying landmark, good beach, Oniru beach, God will punish TINUBU and everyone supporting APC. Chai. And Ugochukwu here says, laugh out loud. There was never a plan to do any highway. The main task has already been completed. And Mr. Sojo replied, he said, money allocated to the project is gone, Otilo. That is it. Their main motive was to allocate huge amounts and embezzle and then to take out those beaches. And this tweet by Didi says, so they didn't have clues before proceeding to do this, destroy people's shops and stores for nothing, cost all the people that voted this current government. That is it, my sister. An upgrade here says, wait, let me understand. They destroyed the place, then disembarked from the realignment because of submarine cables. So they didn't know there were submarine cables before demolishing the place. These guys aren't okay at all. You can't tell me nothing. They are not okay. They are not. Point blank, period. Now, let us look at how the TINUBU administration, speaking through the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, blamed climate change for insecurity in Nigeria. Look at how the papers reported it. Secretary to the Government, Akume, says climate change is major reason for insecurity in Nigeria. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, has said that climate change is one of the major reasons for insecurity in Nigeria. Akume, who said this at the launch of Nigeria's National Determined Contribution Implementation Framework on Thursday in Abuja, stressed that the insecurity in the country was largely ecological. Represented at the event by his senior special assistant, Professor Bolaji Babatunde, the SGF said, I have to sing it loud that one of the reasons for insecurity in the country is largely ecological. The issue of climate change should not be taken lightly, especially for the country Nigeria. He said the NDCIF document was of immense contribution to tackling climate change issues in the country. According to him, climate change knows no borders, and so the changes threaten not only the environment but also the socio-economic fabric of communities worldwide. You heard that. SGF George Akume said insecurity in Nigeria is largely ecological. The sad thing here is that this man is from Benue State. As a matter of fact, he is a former governor of the state. And Benue is arguably the most terrorized state in Nigeria. Many of their communities have been taken over by Fulani herdsmen. They kill them in scores daily. But an ex-governor says it is caused by climate change. And if you ask him to explain further, he will tell you that the Fulani herdsmen are encroaching into people's farms because climate change has caused deforestation and desertification. So they can no longer find green pastures to feed their cows with. Cattle can no longer graze. And I ask, so if herders can't find grasses to feed their cattle with, and they encroach into my farm, and they feed my crops to their cattle, is that not wicked enough? Okay, you feed my crops to your cattle, and I complain, and then you attack me and my family. And you expect me to put that on climate change? You attack a community, you kill them, you begin to dwell in their houses, and you say it is climate change. And look at how Nigerians reacted. Look at some of the tweet reactions. And this tweet here by Anthony says, this one just newly begin craze this week. This might sound disrespectful, but in this week alone, Akume has said a lot of things, that beg several questions. He was the same person that said that their policies have greatly reduced inflation. If you look at the prices of food items in Nigeria now and you say that the government has reduced inflation, then people might begin to wonder if you are okay. And now you are coming to put insecurity on climate change. This is abnormal. And this tweet by Daho Sapita says, Mumu, what's your business with climate change? You refuse to deal with terrorists. You are calling terrorists repented. Mumu man. That is it. How about the repented Boko Haram people that they ingratiated into the army? They are now giving info to these terrorists to wreak havoc on Nigeria. And you are talking about climate change. And this tweet by Olawale Talabi says, laugh out loud. You think with old age and experience, they are supposed to be smarter. But, well, aren't they? If few old men are able to corner the resources of the country for their own personal gains, then they are smart. Yesterday, Wole Soyinka, a supposed professor, was on an interview, and with all the current happenings in Nigeria, all he could do was cry about how obedience insulted him on Twitter. This man sees the daily killings in this country. He sees the poverty, the hunger, and hopelessness amongst the citizens. He ignored all that. This is a professor, a Nobel laureate we are talking about. But yet, he is blinded by bigotry and probably taps on the back by APC politicians. And you say they are not smart? Of course they are. But like I always say, it is up to the people. No group, no single group, no matter how strong, can be stronger than the entire people of a country. It is up to Nigerians if we are going to continue to describe these guys as smart for putting us through this mess and this hell in a land of plenty. Nigerians will decide whether to continue to suffer or to put their foot down and get rid of suffering. But until then, make I still enter town. Make I go get some ogbonge political news wey una go like. Why? Because of una. Now I dey here, so don't go away. Don't go.